It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, August the 30th. Good morning, Bad Moon Rising. A fine reminder to, if you haven't in a long time, go watch American Werewolf in London. Isn't that a great movie?
Yes.
God.
Yeah, that's a staple every Shocktober.
Man, I remember seeing American Werewolf in London in the theater, and I'd never seen a movie that was such a genre. It was like hilarious and terrifying at the same time, which was new for me at that moment in life. A very, very impactful movie for the young Steve Gorman. And good Lord, I've never heard that song and not thought about it since.
Right. Yeah, immediately.
Yeah, just absolutely spectacular. That said, I've watched it within the last year, so I'm not really dying to see it. But just a little friendly tip there from your buddy Steve. If you've never seen it or if it's been a while, check it out again. It's going to do you right.
All right.
Come on, Candace, get on
modern.
it.
Has she seen Candace, you've not? All right. I wonder how it would hold up with the younger audience that, it might be a little, I think it probably, the special effects hold up a little. It's not CGI,
No, they really do well. The when he converts for the first time, spoiler alert, to a werewolf, as that's in the title of the film. I hope that's not too surprising. Still holds up. I watched it with the kids, 2 college kids last year, and they both watched the whole thing. So that's all I can tell you. They didn't leave.
Is he hot? Is the werewolf hot?
The werewolf's so hot you're going to want to drink a Dr. Pepper when you see it.
Hey.
I'm a Pepper. Are you a Pepper?
Oh, he was the Pepper, wasn't he? What was that guy's name? David Naughton. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
My favorite line in that, he says, a naked American man stole my balloons.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the little kid. That's right. And I also like when Griffin Dunn comes back, he's half dead, and he goes, "The nurse, huh?" By the way, anybody who's never seen this film, just sorry for going right down this rabbit hole, but imagine being John Fogerty, and you write a song like Bad Moon Rising, and it's just a great 2.5-minute pop classic, and for the rest of time, people just think about werewolves when they hear it now. Could be worse.
Yeah, no, that's not bad. I mean, I would think... I think that'd be kind of an attaboy. I mean, he's written so many hits. If it was the only one that he wrote, maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
He's
that's
written
true.
so many. He probably doesn't even remember all of his hits.
Once you're into the second dozen of great hits, you probably don't really care what people think of when they hear one of your songs.
That guy.
A lot of interesting stories today that we're perusing. I like this one. Let's start here. Let's go to Milwaukee, shall we, ahead of this year's football season. Check this out. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. There's a few Packers fans in the area, yeah?
Oh, yeah. They
One or
hop
two?
the border all the time.
One or two? Apparently there's a bar in Milwaukee called Jack's American Pub. It's a good name. Solid name. You wouldn't call it, Benji's American Pub or, Little Ray's American Pub, but Jack's American Pub stands tall on its own. They've got a new deal, okay? Here's the deal for this football season as a way of saying thanks for nothing, Aaron Rodgers. If you go to Jack's American Pub and open a tab 15 minutes before kickoff of a New York Jets game that is not being played concurrently with a Packers game, okay? So you got Aaron Rodgers and the Jets taking the field. If the Packers are not playing at that same time, and you open a tab at least 15 minutes before kickoff and stay for the whole game, if the Jets lose, if Aaron Rodgers loses, the bar picks up your tab. Did I explain that right? You can go drink for free for the better part of 4 hours.
Yeah.
And if Aaron Rodgers loses, I love that. And the fact of the matter is, the Jets have got a great defense, but they do have a weak offensive line. So there's a chance. Some people are going to be drinking for free, I think, this season.
Yeah, could be. I mean, I have no real bead on this. Some people think it's all the way with this. I mean, he's going to give them a spark. It's a good team.
Yeah.
And the offensive line, if you have a bad offensive line, you want one quarterback. Well, you want 2 quarterbacks, Mahomes and Rodgers. Yeah. I mean, not even Burris stacks up with a bad offensive line. I don't think. He doesn't have that release. But I want to go, Burris, whatever. Oh.
Here we go.
God sakes, this show.
I'm feeling really weird about
What?
Aaron Rodgers because
He makes you feel all tingly
okay,
inside?
No. So I used to think he was really hot.
Right.
And then I was kind of over it
Okay.
this year. And then I saw previews for that documentary that's about to come out about him going to the Jets. And I think he's hot again. And I just don't know what to do. And I also look really cute in green.
You have don't you have a Jets jersey?
Yeah,
Am I making that up?
I have a Jets bomber jacket that my dad gave me a long time ago.
Even cooler.
I know.
Fair
But I
enough.
can't do that, right? No, I gotta stick to
You
my
can, you can do
purple.
that. That's AFC, and this is an NFC
Okay.
town, so you can at night at home alone, you can wear Jets gear. That's fine. It's perfectly acceptable.
How fun would it be to go to that Vikings Packers game? Sorry to backtrack, but that's the Halloween game.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. that'd be
Well,
super
fair
fun.
enough.
I did that one year, and people all dress up in the stands. It's really
so
cool.
fun.
Well, there's only 4 times this offer will be applicable. There's only 4 times the Jets are playing where the Packers aren't. But for those 4 times, if you find yourself in Milwaukee, just go get ripped and take a chance that you're going to be drinking for free. And by the way, this reminds me, I saw this story recently too. Somebody compiled the average amount of money that fans spend on their favorite team throughout their entire life. That's an unsettling proposition to look back and realize how much money you've thrown at your favorite football team throughout your life. Now, here's the way this was done. 8 home games a year, right? So let's say you buy 8 tickets to a home game. Right now, the NFL average is about $115 a ticket. You're going to spend over the course of a season about $500 on gas, transportation, and parking alone. You'll spend at least $400 on food and drink. At the games, $100 on swag. $210 on food and drinks at bars, watching away games. It just goes on and on. $350 for subscriptions to YouTube NFL package. Basically, they came up with the average hardcore fan is going to spend over $2,000 a year. And if you're watching a team for 44 years, 21 to 65, $95,000. 95 grand. And when I heard that, I was like, that's lower than I was expecting. I mean, if you think about it, because do you actually, when you go to a football game, if you buy 4 tickets, do you actually only buy 1 jersey or 1 drink and a hot dog? No, you go a little wild. You go on, you look at the terms of your credit card and go, what the hell?
Yeah.
You overspend like crazy. What is the amount of money one spends in a lifetime of Vikings gear, food, tickets, parking, the whole experience? There are plenty of Vikings fan who are in 7 digits.
You got to factor in tissues for the weeping.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's more of a January thing. You know, you just stockpile through the season and wait for the end of the season.
Paper products.
90 grand. And I just thought, like, well, that sounds like a lot of money. But yeah, when it's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
What's the most you ever spent on one thing at the time? Bingo, bango, bonk, like a ticket that was from a scalper? That's more of an interesting question to me. What's the dumbest money you ever threw at something for an experience? And even if it was great, you still go, I can't believe I spent that much money. These are the kind of things that go through my mind.
Yeah.
Most expensive drink, Zepp, you've ever. What's the dumbest amount of money you ever threw at booze?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I'll ponder it. Yeah, we'll come back to it. We'll get something up on the KQ Facebook page. Give us a call. Something you spent a ridiculous amount of money on. A luxury item. 651-989-ROCK. Mike Evans, Hollywood Report coming. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, August the 30th. Robert Palmer, Addicted to Love, originally recorded as a duet with Chaka Khan.
No,
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, and then her record company, Warner Brothers, was like, well, hang on, we can't allow your voice to be used on a record on another label. So they had to scrub her vocals, which just goes to show, as always, record companies suck. Can you imagine? I mean, it's a great tune anyway, but where's the Chaka Khan when you need it? Robert Palmer knew what was up. It would have been great.
But he needs a little chaka.
And Chaka just played the fair, by the way. I read a fine review. I wish I'd seen it. I was way, way asleep at the wheel on that one. I'm not going to sleep on Mike Evans because, he's asleep right now. He sent us in a file ahead of time. Actually, I doubt he's asleep. He's probably getting ready for a round of golf or something. But we have a pre-recorded Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Here you go. Here's your Wednesday report. Here we go. Hey, good morning, everybody. Heads up, I'm back live tomorrow, but we start off today with a big love nugget. Hard to believe that Queen Elizabeth died a year ago next week, and Harry and William stopped talking. And King Charles did not invite Harry and Meghan to a formal function at the royal palace, and the royal family were officially splintered. But hold on. While Harry has been traveling the world the past few weeks, he has also very quietly been talking to his brother William and his dad. Harry wants peace in the family. The big question is Meghan on board. Maybe there'll be a Christmas royal reunion. Despite the Disney stock dropping and the Disney Corporation being in huge financial trouble, the Magic Kingdom have some big upcoming plans, starting with a new attraction called the San Franciscan Square, which opens up at the Disney Anaheim Park. At the Hong Kong Disneyland later this year, the ride, The World of Frozen, will open. 2 new attractions at the U.S. parks, Journey of Water Manoa and the Adventure Treehouse. At the Tokyo Disneyland, an expansion to the Pixie Hotel and their Finding Nemo attraction. And Disney is adding 2 brand new cruise ships to go along with their Disney Wish, Disney Magic, Disney Wonder, and Disney Fantasy ships. And again, all this while the Disney Corporation is in deep financial trouble. Odds and ends, some of the most powerful people in Hollywood are studio executives and entertainment bankers and agents and managers, but secretly, it's the publicist everybody's scared of. Everybody calls publicists to get the real scoop, including me. Tucker Carlson is bragging that he's very close to a one-on-one interview with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Oh, Lord.
But I don't think it's going to happen. Here's the reason. I don't think it's going to happen just because Tucker Carlson is a Christian. And Vladimir Putin hates Christians, big atheists. Usually won't even talk to them. I can't imagine him doing an interview with Tucker, but we'll see. What? Get ready for a fabulous book coming out around Christmas called Mixing Up the Medicine. It's Bob Dylan's autobiography and will include over 500 photographs never before seen. Can't wait. Sports shorts. Love me some U.S. Open tennis. And a lot of celebrities are there this week in New York. Yes, the Obamas have front row seats, but so do Mike Tyson, Danny DeVito, Katie Couric, Lindsey Vonn, Gayle King, Hillary and Alec Baldwin, Brad Pitt, Ben Stiller, Tina Fey, and Matthew Perry. Everybody's there. And I'll be here live tomorrow. Have a great day. Talk to you then, Mike Evans. See ya.
Wow. Mike goes balls to the wall when it's pre-recorded, doesn't he? He just gets in that cockpit and says, "Let's go 5th gear." Bang. So he said that Prince Harry wants peace in the family. Almost. No, he wants a piece of the family. That's what's going on there. Oh, I'm just going to say. And speaking of Prince Harry and King Charles, that's never gonna roll off the tongue. King Charles. Yeah. Scientists from the University of Warwick in England have just released the results of their study to find the funniest words in the world. This is not a Monty Python skit. They literally were like, let's find out what the funniest words in the world are, shall we? 5,000 words they've determined. Again, these are literal people at the University of Warwick in England. The funniest word ever, wait for it, booty. Booty. See, Candace laughs. Booty.
That's funny.
There were other words that it beat out, like booby. I think booty's funnier than booby. How about this? Hooter. Hooter. Is hooter a funny word?
No.
Nitwit. Oh, it's okay. Twit. Now, twit is a great word. That's a really throw that at someone. Hey, what, dude? Come on, stop being a twit. See, watch their face. That really gets a reaction.
You think they'll laugh?
They're not going to laugh. They're going to be like, "What'd you call me?" Waddle. Waddle. Waddle.
Sure.
Tinkle. Tinkle's good for the funny bone.
That's fine.
Bebop and egghead. Okay, this is bizarre, but okay, we're almost done here. Just indulge me. Researchers also found younger people are more likely to say words like, the younger people find these words funny. Goatee. That's not one of Candace's buddies. That's that thing you put on your face. Hunchback. Is hunchback funny?
No.
No, seeing a hunchback is funny.
Exact. Thank you. And then filth. Filth is funny.
No.
Oh, well.
Whereas older people like words like squint, jingle, and check this one out. Older people think the word caddy is funny. Caddy. Like,
You're being catty?
I put
or golf?
barbells. No, like the guy who carries your clubs around the golf course.
Oh,
I put
wow.
barbells in my bag to give that caddy a proper workout. I mean, I guess it's funny like that. I
Yeah.
don't get it otherwise.
I don't know. Yeah, sort of in a snooty way, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, booty. If you're having trouble at your next social function and you can't seem to break the ice, just look at people and go, booty, and see if they laugh. See if that does the job.
Pickle or bubble.
Bubble is a good word. I like Bubble. I used to call people Bubbles when I would be annoyed at them. I'd go, just relax, Bubbles. It's fine. And boy, that doesn't ever puncture the anger. It just adds to it. I'm big on two things. Oh, honey. I mean, honey is a good one, but Bubbles is really, really special.
Yeah.
Next time someone's in your face about something, next time somebody in traffic, if the windows are down, relax, Bubbles. We're all going to be fine here. Trust me.
And then duck.
Yeah. Put that one out there. See what happens. It
Right.
always ends exactly as you hope, which is angrier and more.
Yeah, maybe not in the summer when everybody's in a shooty mood.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, by the way, shooty mood. We got to talk about this. Maybe we'll go do a deep dive later. But what about this shooting at a Chicago White Sox game the other day?
Yeah.
It's tragic to think that somebody had a gun in a stadium and accidentally fired it and shot somebody. What's even more of interesting and noteworthy is the fact that a woman snuck the gun into the White Sox stadium, tucked in between the rolls of her belly fat.
God. Oh, my God.
Literally got a gun in by
Yeah.
putting it in between the rolls of her jiggling caddy, I guess the old people would laugh
And
at.
it stayed there.
And it stayed
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
that's
then it misfired and shot someone in the leg, I believe.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Yeah, I know. I talked to a prison guard one time who said they would have to check the big fatzos when they came out of the cafeteria for contraband. You weren't supposed to take food back to your cell, I guess. I don't see the big you're in jail. Who cares if you get even fatter? It's not like the military. They're trying to work some pounds off you. But he would hide hard-boiled eggs up under his fat folds.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It seems to me
maybe
that
they
if you
were
took-
regular eggs and then hard-boiled under there.
That's where I was going. If you do it right, if it's the middle of the summer and there's no AC in the yard, you could boil that sucker right there in between the rolls of your fat. Yeah. Now we're talking. Who's hungry, huh? I tell you what. I know everyone's hungry for a history lesson. Let's look back. How about this? August 30th, 1987. Charlie Huff on the mound for the Texas Rangers. He's a knuckleballer. He had 6 passed balls. His own catcher missed 6 of his pitches. It was a major league record. Have you ever been at a Major League Baseball game when a knuckleballer was on the mound? I remember.
No.
I saw Tim Wakefield of the Red Sox once, and it's one of the funniest things you've ever seen because the catcher. Watch the catcher's glove as the ball is slowly approaching, making no sense. I can't imagine a more nerve-wracking experience than to be a catcher with a knuckleball pitcher. And knuckleballers, at some point, they realize, like, well, I've lost everything. I'll just start throwing these wacky balls and see if I can extend my career. And it's the weirdest thing ever. In person, it is one of the find out who the knuckleballers are and go see one live. That's my recommendation. On the same day Charlie Huff missed his own catcher 6 times, Kirby Puckett went 6 for 6. August 30th, 1987, 6 for 6 with 2 home runs. I mean, I was never a Twins guy, but God, I couldn't help but love Kirby Puckett.
Yeah.
What a stud.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, August the 30th. That was Queen with Fat Bottom Girls, of course. Queen is playing here in the fall, and we've been having a conversation today. And in fact, there's a post on the Facebook page, KQRS. What's the most expensive thing you've treated yourself, and how much did you spend? And Jeanette bought Queen tickets for October, way over my price range, but worth it. Yeah, it'll be worth it. Queen puts on a whale of a show. I had Queen tickets to see them in 1978, and my ride canceled, and I sat in my home with unused Queen tickets as they rocked Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm still pissed off about it. So, by God, Jeanette, go have a great time. It will be worth the money in hindsight. We've all spent really silly money on things here and there. I remember I paid good money to upgrade a flight to first class where I got on the plane and literally slept from takeoff to touchdown. So I paid like $1,100 to sleep.
Oh.
It was kind of a mistake. It was a long flight, but still, I was like, I guess it was maybe not quite worth that. I would have slept just fine in coach. I was drunk as per usual before a long flight. This is back in the day, of course.
Yeah, I mean.
But listen, we're welcoming your Facebook comments. Go to the KQRS Facebook page, or you can also give us a shout, 651-989-7625, or if you prefer, 651-989-ROCK. That's what that spells. Rock! And as we rock along on a Wednesday morning, we have a caller or two, Candace. Who's on hold?
Bruce from Hutchinson.
Bruce, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Everything's wonderful over here, brother. What have you got for us?
Well, when you asked about what's the most you ever splurged on,
Yeah?
I couldn't help but thinking about the last couple days of April. Willie Nelson had a 90th birthday concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and I saw Willie the first time when he was probably still in his 40s, and I was 17 or 18, and
Right.
I managed to see him probably 10, 12 times over the years, including taking my college roommate to see him at the casino in Hinckley
Okay.
for his 40th birthday, so we decided to go for it. And I'd always wanted to see a concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and
Awesome.
we thought if we went, we might as well get good seats, so we got tickets in the 5th row.
Attaboy.
For the 2 nights, it was $5,000 each, so 2 tickets were $10K.
$10K.
Yes.
Lord.
Hey, man.
Don't judge Bruce.
No judgment at all.
No,
I'm high-fiving you, Bruce. That is fantastic. How was the Hollywood Bowl?
It was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave Matthews was there. Keith Richards showed up.
Yeah.
I don't know, Billy Strings.
A lot of people.
Yeah, the old guitar player from the Allman Brothers. I've seen him a few
Dickie
times
Betts?
before. No, it wasn't Dickie Betts. It was Warren Haynes.
Oh.
Yeah, sure. Government
Wow.
Mule.
He and Jamie Johnson did Georgia. That Stardust album is one of my favorites. I've been hearing it since I was 15 years old.
Right
and
on.
Booker T led the house band. I mean, it was
Right.
Snoop Dogg was there. It was a mixture, to say the least.
Hell yeah. Worth every penny of that $10,000.
Ethan Hawke and Vanessa Redgrave
Well,
and
now
Woody
it's
great
Harrelson
Scott.
introduced the band.
Name dropper, you.
Starting to judge
smokes.
It
now.
was something. It was a sight to behold.
Yeah. Well, Bruce, thank you for the
Yeah.
call, man. That's I don't think anyone's going to top it. I would challenge our listeners to try. But Willie at the Hollywood Bowl for his 90th with that guest list, well done, brother. Thank you for the call.
Thank you.
The best guitarist on that stage, by the way, that night at the Hollywood Bowl, a guy named Tom Bukovac. Make no mistake.
Oh, your buddy.
The greatest guitar player I've ever spent time with. Tom Bukovac. Google him, look him up. He's got a YouTube show called Homeschooling. It'll blow your mind. He's one of the I'm just saying. Yeah, Keith was there and Willie was there. All these guys. That's the greatest guitar player on the face of the earth. I've made my stand. Now make fun of me all you want.
Okay. Bruce is my spirit animal.
Bruce is your spirit animal.
That was the most expensive concert ticket I bought when I saw Black Sabbath in the 3rd row at the Hollywood Bowl.
I
But
read
that
your
was
report.
10
I read your report about that, and I was going to ask you about it.
It was 10 years ago,
Yeah.
so I only spent $300. It would probably be like it'd probably be like $3,000 now.
Oh, sure it would be. But, fun fact about the Hollywood Bowl, never been.
What?
I used to live in L.A. I've been to a million concerts out there. I've never been to the Hollywood
I love
Bowl.
it so much.
I've been stuck in Hollywood Bowl traffic, which is just, boy, if you want to curse up a blue streak, just get off the wrong exit at the wrong time. That is a nightmare. Candace, we have another caller.
Yes. Jesse from Minnetonka.
Jesse, good morning. You with us?
I am.
There you go. What you got for us, brother?
So everyone likes watching a good movie once in a while, and I probably have like a $500 TV in my living room. But that just wasn't for me. I had to one-up myself, and I had to buy myself a $1,600 flat screen for my bedroom.
How big is it?
48 inches.
Oh,
Wow.
sure.
Yeah, must be like 8K or something, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So so you opt to get in bed to watch movies probably more often than hanging out in the den now.
Oh, yeah, and it's a lot easier to pick and choose when it's just yourself instead of a whole group of people.
Yeah,
Amen.
make no mistake about that. So remember when flat screens were first introduced and they all cost $1 million? Man, I got hey Jesse, thank you for the call, brother. $1,600 for a 40-inch flat screen in the bedroom, ladies. Jesse's out there. Check this out. I bought a TV. My family moved to Nashville in 2004, and we needed a TV for like the den. So I wanted to get a big TV because the kids, at that point, we are knee deep in VHS tapes and DVDs of kids' movies. And I went to the Sears at the Bellevue Mall in Nashville, and they had this giant. It was the biggest TV I'd ever seen. And I was like, man, that we need it. I'm gonna finally, because I had always been like, yeah, TV's good, but I don't need a big screen. I don't really care. But then I was like, no, I'm getting it. The kids are watching these movies now, and it was like it was right before the first flat screens. This thing weighed like hundreds of pounds. It wasn't a console, but to put it on a table. The first table I set it on, the table sagged, and I was like, oh crap. But I kid you not, when it was delivered, it was 3 people carried this TV into the house.
Yeah.
Not 2 big dudes, 3 big dudes. Wow. And it was uncomfortable, and it was just the weight distribution was weird. And I had it, and then when we moved from that house to another house a few years later, the guys with the movers were like, where did you get this? I'm like, man, I got it at Sears. And it was right as flat screens were coming. Like a month later, I'm like, wait a minute, they've got these big screens that weigh like 6 pounds. I was like, no wonder it was on sale. Like they had all the next truck into town had flat screens, and I was like, damn, I got taken for a ride on that one. But then again, those first flat screens were so expensive. Mm-hmm. And now you go, I was at Best Buy a couple weeks ago down in maybe Richfield, I'm not sure, Candace, but somewhere down there south. I'm at a Best Buy, and I'm like, look, these things are cheap. You can get a really nice flat screen TV for like $200 now. I was like, wow. Yeah. Go figure.
Yeah, because the next ones come out. The 8Ks are out, so now the 4Ks, that incredible definition, is those prices are coming down. Yeah.
I've never spent a whole lot of money on cheese. I like cheese, but I've never gone to the wall for cheese. Unlike a guy in Spain who just bought a wheel of cheese for $32,000.
Nuts.
It was a Spanish Cabrales blue cheese. Blue cheese has broken the record. $32,000 at a local cheese festival. A single 4.8 pound wheel of the semi-hard, pungent dairy project. It's matured in the mountain caves of the Asturias in northern Spain. Yeah. Does that sound official? The Asturias. It's the Castilian pronunciation, the t sound. It's a big wheel of blue cheese, 32 large. Yeah. The exorbitant price apparently due to the back-breaking process of making this cheese. You take raw cow's milk, a mixture of cow, sheep's, or goat's milk, and then it ages for at least 4 months in mountain caves. Anytime I see it, I read about how cheese is made, particularly something like this. Who came up with that?
Right.
Who took a vat of milk and said, I'm gonna put this in one of those caves for a while and just see what happens. Uh-huh. And then you go back a few months later and then you take a chance at eating it, where I would just think it's clearly not something you want to consume. Uh-huh. All I know is I think about things like cheese and tobacco and wine, and I think, man, who came up with that? Never. It always blows my mind.
It's probably the cheapest way to make it or something like that, and then they just get rich weirdos to buy it, spend a lot of money on it.
I love when rich weirdos buy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it keeps the wheel of commerce turning, right?
Yeah, the invisible hand right there.
What do you
Cheese
do with
wheel
a
of commerce.
$32,000 wheel of cheese? Do you put that on a Ritz or a wheat thin? What would you go with?
You know what I'd put it on? I'd go old school, chicken and a biscuit. Remember
Yeah,
those?
I love
Drag
those.
Julie's ass.
Man, when someone had chicken and a biscuit, I was like, they must be rich.
Right, those are-
That was beyond the Gorman family budget. We just had Zesta saltines.
Yes.
Man, chicken and a biscuit was rocking. I'd be like, man, you must have money out your wazoo if you're buying chicken and a biscuit.
You don't need. I have always regret the cracker. I feel like the cheese is just, it takes away the flavor of the cheese.
Don't regret. Respect the cracker.
Maybe you need some more artisanal crackers to help you. It brings the
Probably.
bouquet to a more succulent place. Who are we kidding, Candace? You just gobble down the wine and then let the chips fall where they may.
Next step is to fold in the cheese.
Concert tickets, I will say right now, I'll just have to come clean. I'm totally spoiled because I know promoters, so I always get tickets for cost.
Yeah.
It's a great, which I didn't take advantage of until my kids decided they wanted to go to concerts. Now, on behalf of my kids, I make a lot of calls. I shoot a lot of, hey man, just I'm not looking for freebies. Just hook me up. So I've never had to bend over back. I've never had to slap leather, as they say, for concert tickets. But for sporting events. I've gone. My son and I wanted to go see Lionel Messi, who now plays in the MLS in Miami. There was a tournament where Argentina was playing Chile in New York City a few years ago in the finals, and he was dying to see Messi. And we said, well, maybe if Argentina makes the final, maybe we'll figure it out. And so, I had, it's one of those things. I'm at home. I'm like, okay, well, I got points for the flights. We're going to stay with a friend. It's going to be a real cheap trip. And then I'm trying to find tickets to a game that's sold out, and boy, that wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
The soccer heads in New York, they really love their Lionel Messi. And I want to say it was less than $1,000 a ticket, but I can't promise that it was less than $1,000 a ticket. But it was one of those, I have the talk with him. I'm like, because we're flying and staying free, this is possible. But if we were paying for flights at a hotel, there's no way we'd be watching it on TV in New York City. So you have to balance it all out. But, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, we thought. And then Messi came to the MLS, and now we can see him anytime. So thanks for nothing, Messi.
That was a good father-son moment.
It was a great father-son moment,
Yeah.
but I do remember justifying it by saying, well, we'll never have the chance to see him again.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's here. And playing for Miami, wearing pink, playing my Nashville SC tonight in Miami. In fact,
Oh, all right. Who are you rooting for?
I am a Nashville fan. That's
All
my
right.
club team. I've yet to see the Loons here. I got to get to a game.
Oh,
over at
that's so
Allianz
much
Field.
fun.
And because they're in the Western Division, I can cheer for them. If they were, if Nashville were still in the West, there'd be a problem. But no, it's cool. I can keep those lines open. Titans are my AFC team. Vikings are my NFC team. I justify all this crap. Don't worry about it.
Very well, yeah. You're making all kind of work and pieces together.
I skate through it all.
I love it. All right, we have Clapton tickets to give away here at 8 o'clock with the game show. Coming up, we're talking about those extravagances we spent a lot of money on, whether it was a good buy. How about some bad buys that you immediately regretted when you spent a lot of money on that? The KQ Facebook page post is up. Or you can give us a call on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and text line, 651-989-ROCK. Hang tight.
Yo, I gotta have sex tonight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. A couple things coming up today. In 30 minutes or so, we're going to be giving away, 8 o'clock, we're giving away a couple of Eric Clapton tickets to, we'll have a couple listeners. They will compete in a game of our choice, and we will give away tickets. That's how cool we are. At 9 o'clock, a couple of guys from Howie's Mud Bog are coming by the studio, and we're going to talk about Howie's Mud Bog.
Even cooler.
Yeah, because we were going to talk about making sausage, but they didn't have any information about that. So, no, we're going to talk about mud bogging, and I'm looking forward to that conversation as well. In the meantime, what we've been talking about so far is impulse purchases or just really expensive purchases we've made in our lives. Like, what did we look back and go, I can't believe I spent that much money on that? And literally the biggest, dumbest thing I ever bought. It completely escaped me. And during the commercial break, I just remembered, oh, yeah, I bought a Range Rover once. That I had
on a whim?
on a whim. On a gin and grapefruit Greyhound whim. Yeah. Long story short, fall of 91, just got home from a tour for like 2 years. The first record had blown up. And so I finally got some money. And this is how much money I had, I'll just tell you. I had about $90,000. Wow. After selling 5 million records. So in the grand scheme of things, it's like, it's not that much money. But to me at the time, it was $1 billion. And I'd never had anywhere near that much money. I mean, I'd never been close to having that kind of money. I was so confused. But I kept seeing these Range Rovers, these new cars. I was like, man, that thing is cool looking. It's unique. Maybe I'll get one of those. And I went to the dealer, and I said, how much is that Range Rover? And he said, it's $50,000. And I was like, well, that'll leave me with 40, and that will last me for years. Okay.
Oh, my.
And I literally bought that car and drove it home. And within an hour, I was like, oh, my God, what have I done? I felt like the biggest idiot ever. I was like, I am not built for the rock star life. I bought the rock star car and then felt like a complete ass. And I drove around in shame for months. I'd see friends, they'd be like, what? This is your car? And I was like, yeah, don't make fun of me. Sorry. Instead of just owning it and being like, hell yeah, I made a bunch of money and I'm going to buy a car. Yeah. But the dumb thing was I literally felt, which was true, well, that 40 grand left over, that'll last me forever. It did last me a long time, but I couldn't get over the fact that I spent that much money on a car. And then I made the mistake of driving it to my family's Christmas get-together in Baltimore. I have 5 older brothers and 2 older sisters, and I pulled up in that, and they all were like, the hell is wrong with you? And I was like, so much for the, hey, cool car, dude. Congrats. I was like, man, I could not. And when I unloaded it, within probably a year or two. And then I went back on the road, and then I was never driving it. Then I'm like on tour again going, that car's just sitting there losing value. All that money, I could have done anything else with it. I swear, I'm getting stressed out right now thinking about it.
Well, you put it in a garage, you pull a tarp over it, you leave it sit there for about 50 years, and now it's worth some big dough.
Where were you when I needed you, Zep? I could have used that advice.
I just drove beater trucks forever. I mean, it was I had to live on a hill. Because the only way I could get a truck started was to roll it down the hill. So I remember buying my first new truck, and the guy came over and he goes, hey, we got quite a deal here for you. You know how that works. And this one had a leather interior. I went, I can't drive this, man. I'm not a rich rancher, for God's sakes. My buddies are going to freak out if I pull up with, heated leather seats and that whole thing. I didn't end up buying the truck, but I wouldn't let anyone look. Hey, let's see your truck. No, it's just an old run-of-the-mill truck, no big deal. Then you want to show it off. You're right, because I wasn't ready to show off a big expensive purchase at the time. But I didn't regret the purchase. I drove that thing till the wheels fell off.
Tony, there's got to be a 10-gallon hat in your closet somewhere. Something. Come on.
My very first car I ever bought myself, and I was talked into it by my girlfriend's brother, was a Porsche 914. Now, it was in 1971, so it was only like $2,000, but at the time, that was a big deal to me. And I remember I got home, and my dad was just like shaking his head. He's like, why did you get that? And my mom said, do you have to wear a helmet when you drive that? Because it was a little 2-seater.
Yeah,
and
I know. The 914 was cool.
Oh, I love that car. And it was a stick, and I did not know how to drive a stick. So I learned on the streets of Highland Park.
Oh, my gosh.
That was a wonderful car until it wasn't.
My brother Doug's best friend showed up at our house one day in a Porsche 914, 914. And, of course, my dad, being the guy he was, went, it's just a Volkswagen, really. That's not a real Porsche.
True.
Which is true, but still, it's a 17-year-old kid with his first car, and you had to point that out to him. Yeah. It's just a Volkswagen. It's a glorified VW.
Glorified go-kart.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was like, I don't care what it is. I want to sit in that bad boy. That car was awesome.
Oh, I love that car.
We all love that. Candace, what was your first car?
Ford Taurus.
Atta girl.
Yeah, I love them. Fords. Yep. Ford girl Fords. Right here.
Ford girl. When I was a kid, Ford meant fixed or repaired daily. That's what we used to say.
We've been in there.
Ford family right here. A lot of Gormans work in those Ford plants in Michigan for many, many years. And let's see. I drive a Ford right now, Ford Explorer. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great car.
Cool
I have an Escape.
What's that?
I have an Escape.
Yeah, it's a good car for you. It's good.
Thank you.
Good. I just like the fact that you have a car called an Escape. You can just bust out at any time.
I like being up high. I don't know how people drive cars anymore. I couldn't drive a car anymore.
I just drove to Los Angeles a couple weeks ago during the break. We had a week off, and I took my son to L.A. because he's out there for the fall semester in his car, and we drove a Toyota Corolla cross country, which is I've been in an SUV for years. I couldn't believe what it was like to be on the highway in a tiny little car like that for 2,000 miles. It was shocking to me.
It's a weird feeling, isn't it?
It really was a weird feeling. I spent 5 miles in the passenger seat and said, I can't do this. I have to be driving, because if I'm not driving, then I'm aware of how uncomfortable I am in this tiny seat watching you drive. And I was like, sorry, I did the whole damn thing, and I was much happier that way. I'm not a good passenger in a car. Well, I'm a good passenger if it's like an excursion and I can stretch out. But in a Corolla, I learned a lot about myself. Drive or bust. There's nothing in between. Hey, I want to ask you guys about this. A dating site did a survey recently, and they're asking about how long couples wait. Now, there's only one of us who's still in the dating scene, as far as I know. But I don't mean to put the pressure on you, Candace, but we can all look back at certain times in our lives. Couples go on an average of 2 dates a week. Here's the thing. According to a dating site, the average couple has their first kiss after 2 dates. After 2 dates. Does that check out? Does that sound about right?
Yep.
Yeah?
I'd say the second date. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But 2 dates a week? Yeah, I don't. Who has time for that?
well,
That's
yeah, but-
insanity.
But first date kiss is a rarity, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. It just depends, I guess. But
If the vibe's there, if you're feeling it.
I went on a date with this dude a few months ago, and it was one of those things where, like, we did kiss, and I was, like, cool with it. But he, like, wanted to keep kissing, you know? And, like, he, like, kind of touched my butt, and I was like,
Oh, boy.
I mean, that's cool and all, but it's the first date, and we were, like, standing in the middle of the street. I drove there, so I was just trying to, I was, like, right in front of my car. It was just, and he just kept wanting to kiss, and I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Where is that guy? We're going to kick his ass.
Sounds like a soulmate to me.
It's just kind of weird.
How about this one? After 6 dates, folks introduce each other to their friends. Is that a thing? Like, it's time you met my friends. Like, is that something you really have to think about, or does it just happen naturally more often?
Recently, for me, it's happened naturally, and it was very nice.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, well, see, I always had a thing where in my dating years, I never thought of it as dating. It was always like, hey, do you want to hang out? I go, literally, that would be the words I used. And we're just 2 people going to the same place together and having fun, but it's not a date. Like, I never wanted it to feel like that, because I went on dates in high school and just felt like a complete dork, and it was weird. And so when I was finally like, I'm on my own, I'm an adult now, I'm 19, I was like, I'm not having a date. We'll just go hang out. And then you bump into your friends because you're going to the same bar where your friends are, and you just kind of make it work that way. I never thought of it as something you had to book. Like, hey, guys, I'd like you to meet someone. How's everyone's Thursday night looking? I mean, that would be really strange to me.
Yeah, that would be awkward.
Parents, introducing someone to your parents, they say it's after 12 dates. After 12 dates, the parents. I'm so far removed from that line of thinking. I can't really imagine the feeling of, I need my folks to meet this person. I mean, if you're going to be, I don't know, call me crazy. Do you remember those days? Was there a Tony, did you have a moment when you were like, it's time for Rachel to meet my family?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, we planned
Really?
it. Well, after our first date, we were inseparable.
Okay.
So that stuff kind of happened naturally. But yeah, it was like
that was
an event.
that epoxy accident. You told me about that.
Yeah, it was painful at first. I have pleasant memories. I went out with a woman one time, the very first date we were out, and we ended up hanging at this bar where I used to like to go to, so I ran into a bunch of people I knew.
Sure.
And she started accusing me of setting that up and calling all these people to meet her.
Oh, my
And she's like, you
God.
just met me. And I'm like, no, I just hang out here. I know a
That's
lot of
nice.
people.
Yeah, really.
You can excuse her from the date, and you're already there with your friends. I've done that before. That's nice.
Here's how dumb I am. My 29th birthday, Rosemary goes, hey, let's go shoot some pool. I said, great, let's go. Right down the road from our place, there was a pool hall. We'd go there all the time. We walk in, and over the next 10, 15 minutes, like 12 of my friends show up. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. Everyone's here tonight. And I was mystified. And she's laughing at me the whole time. I mean, Danny's here. Holy crap, Andrew and Mac just showed up. I'm going down the list that everybody, hey, what's up, man? Good to see you. And at some point, she looks at me and she goes, hey, dummy, it's a surprise birthday party. I was like, she had just told everyone, hey, show up and act like everyone was acting like it was a coincidence.
Funny.
It never dawned on me that she had set the whole thing up for my birthday, and I finally had to be told that. I was like, oh, yeah, that was awesome. Thanks.
That's hilarious.
It is kind of funny how there's a different standard for like a date and how long you have to wait to kiss or hook up, and then when you're just trying to hook up and how easy it is. I just got a text from a friend, Steve, sorry, okay. He goes, oh yeah, no kissing on the first date. And I said, date, Steve, date. I'm sorry that you witnessed something that wasn't a date, but there's a difference.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Glad we could get that on the table here. Thanks. Zep, let's go back to the farm. Let's go to South Dakota. Was there ever a time when did you ever bring a girl home like, Mom, Dad, this is Carol? Was there any of that?
No, I don't think my parents have met anyone I've ever dated or was married to or anything like that before. No, seriously. For me, dating is, I compartmentalize things. I have friends. Sure. You don't meet who I'm dating if you're my friend. I have people that I date. Sometimes they run into each other. And then I have family, So friends, family, and then
you take that silo
dates.
thing literally.
Yeah, right, exactly. So all compartmentalized. I don't want them mixing together because I want to do things with my friends. I don't want to date around for that. It kind of harshes the whole friend thing, and vice versa.
Do you take dinner on a plate with sections, or do you can the gravy touch the corn? Is my question.
The gravy can touch the corn.
Okay,
actually, the corn can go. I like to dump the corn on the gravy on the potatoes.
Attaboy.
Monster.
Let's talk about chicks, man.
Chicks.
I gotta work. Can the gravy touch the corn? That's my new euphemism for something. I haven't figured out what it means yet, but I'm gonna start using that one.
I like it.
Hey, if you wanna meet up with Candace, not for a date, not for a hookup, but if you want to meet up with Candace from the KQ Morning Show and Leinenkugels, I can help you out there. Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Cub Wine and Spirits in Stillwater. Man, that's a nice little town. They're going to be toasting the dog days of summer. You'll have a chance to win Leinie's merch for your pup. Dog days of summer, get it. Leinie's paddles and gear for you. And plus, of course, you'll be able to sample some Leinenkugel beer. That is Candace and Leinenkugel at Cub Wine and Spirits in Stillwater, Friday, 4 to 6. Go get them.
Winning combination.
It's going to be great and fun. It's the last big celebration of summer. Come on down.
That was great.
Turn that down.
Man, that sounded like that was from the heart, man.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. The car's just what I needed. A perfectly apropos song for today's show. As we've been talking about purchases we've made, things we felt like we needed. Sometimes that is the case, and sometimes we look back and go, I can't believe I spent that much money on this. And with that in mind, we do have a caller who wanted to share a story with us. Candace, who was on the horn?
Elaine from Bloomington.
Elaine, good morning.
Good morning.
What have you got for us?
In 2017, I spent about $1,500 and went on a Bon Jovi Runaway Tour trip to Vegas.
Oh, come on now. Yes. And at $1,500, what was included in that trip?
2 nights at the Hard Rock Casino, a Q&A with the band, a welcome party, a photo with the band.
Wow.
And a ticket to the concert they were playing in Vegas that weekend.
So $1,500, that sounds like a bargain for all that.
It was we had to pay for the airfare to get out there, but I thought it was pretty good.
That's fantastic. Was the show good?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Did you win any money at the tables at the Hard Rock Casino?
Not that I recall, no.
Yeah.
And I made a bunch of lifelong friends too.
Doesn't sound like a regret at all, does it?
No.
No.
That's
my
fantastic.
picture with John is still my cover photo on Facebook all these years later.
Sure.
I love it.
I bet that's fantastic. I bet somewhere John's going, remember that trip to Vegas? Remember we met her and she was awesome. Yeah, I can totally see that. Elaine, right? That was it. Yeah.
If you would say that. I actually got to ask them a question too during the Q&A.
What did you ask him?
Well, I asked John. I knew he. This is not going to go over well in Minnesota, but I knew he wanted to own an NFL team.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him that the next time the Green Bay Packers offer some stock, you can just buy a share and then you'll be an owner.
That's true.
True.
Did he? I wonder if he jumped on that opportunity.
I don't think so, but
Yeah.
I thought it would be cheaper than buying an actual team.
Got to be, right?
I would think so. Well, thanks for the call. That's a great story. That's
Yeah.
more than worth the money you spent, I'm sure.
I thought so, but thanks, guys.
You got it. Thanks for listening. Hey, do you guys, do you ever, for any reason, answer a phone call, answer your phone when it rings, when you see the number as opposed to the person? Like if you get a number that you don't recognize, do you take the call?
Nope.
No.
Oh,
not
no way.
anymore.
No.
Never-
the only time
never.
I even take a number that I even know is if it's work related. Yeah. If I think, you called one morning, and yeah. So I thought, well, I guess I better grab this. It's AM right now, but no way if I don't know the number.
I got a call from myself once. It was my
Yeah.
own number.
Yeah.
And my
What?
name showed up on it. Yeah.
Yeah, me
Yeah, that
too.
can happen.
Yeah. It's a
Oh my
scam.
God.
They can scam it so you call yourself. It looks like you're calling yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freaked
Oh,
me
that's
out.
fantastic.
Because people want to answer it. They're like, this has got to be me.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been. I've wanted to know what I was thinking about. I'm going to get to the bottom of this with me.
Yeah. But it never is.
I just read a thing where people are talking about the fact we talked about landlines yesterday and the fact that if you were waiting on an important call back in the day, you were under the thumb of that. You had to sit at home all day and wait for the phone to ring, and then if somebody was on the phone, you'd be like, make sure you hang it up. If you ever found a phone like not in the cradle and there was just no dial tone, you'd be like, oh, we could have missed many important phone calls.
Right.
And now, and I got a call yesterday. I got a call from an Atlanta number, a 404 that I did not recognize, and I let it go right to voicemail. And then it turned out it was a call I wish I'd answered. Just like, oh crap! And it was just someone calling me from a landline that they happened to be near. But I can't remember the last time I did that. I'm just not curious enough anymore. I used to take phone calls from numbers I didn't know with the hopes that it would be a telemarketer or somebody from a business that I could then turn it into a prank call that they dialed it to me, but they didn't know what they were getting into.
Yeah.
That would be fun. I would do that with the kids in the car when they were younger. I would just take a call and let them hear Dad just confusing somebody. Like, yeah, can I speak to Steve Gorman? I'd be like, yeah, this is he. And they'd say, hey, Steve, I'm calling about that. And then I would immediately start asking them questions. I'm like,
Yeah.
what, do you do butter or margarine? Like, can you replace margarine in a recipe if it says for butter? And the guy'd be like, I'm sorry, what are you at? And I would just start babbling, and they would never hang up because they initiated the call.
The kids
Right.
giggle, or did they go,
Oh,
Dad?
they loved it. They would
Yeah.
absolutely thought it was hilarious.
Great.
And then one day they went, Dad,
Yeah, right.
stop taking phone
Until it
calls. I'm
wasn't.
listening to music.
Yeah, for sure.
You know how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's another question of the day that I want to ask.
What?
And I'll start with you, Candace Wheeler.
What?
Okay, it's a hypothetical. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Going deep here. Candace, you can sit in a room with, let's say, the acting director of the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA. And you can ask this person any question, and they will give you the full answer. Like, you could literally say, like, let's go to the JFK assassination or the RFK assassination or any number of government overthrows, coup d'etats, anything. Tell me the real story, what happened. And that person would give you the full real story. But the caveat is you could never, ever share that information. Would you go through with it? Would you want to know the real story behind some of these great mysteries if you could never share that information with anybody?
Yes, but I would probably just ask, how accurate Alias was and what they thought of the series.
Kind of
Okay.
aim high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that certainly would be something that would be easy to sit on.
I'm a simple
That
girl.
information. I can appreciate that. Tony, what would you? If you don't want to tell me what you'd ask, that'd be fine. I imagine you might
I
go
wanna
alien
know.
stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
would you want to know? Like, could you? First of all, would you be comfortable knowing this incredibly important information and not being able to share it? And I mean, like, literally, like they put a chip in you where if you started to share this information, you'd immediately self-destruct.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to know, and would you want to carry that information around with you?
I would, because I just have this kind of obsession and thirst for knowledge. I'd want to know the answers to these questions and the mysteries. That's why I want to live a long time, because I want to know. I want to know answers.
Yeah.
But I also have a distrust. If they gave you that information, you kind of can assume that they'd want to kill you anyway.
No, but
that you had that.
In this hypothetical, they're not going to kill you. They're only going to kill you if you speak or write or in any way, shape, or form share this. You got to keep it to yourself.
Wouldn't it be weird, though, if Tony just one day said, no, I don't believe in aliens?
Then you'd be skeptical.
Yeah.
Then you'd know something was up.
You couldn't say then you believed in them anymore. You can't say, oh, yeah, they exist. That would break their rule.
So if Tony doesn't
Becomes
about
a
face on
skeptic.
any of
Yeah.
the important issues of the day, then we will
know.
know they
Then
got
we'll
to
know.
him, and then we'll leave the room immediately because he's about to self-destruct.
Right.
I
Yeah,
would want to
there's a
know, and
missile coming in.
I would keep my mouth shut.
Zepp, what would you want to know something that you couldn't share or do anything with, or would you just rather? Yeah,
Easy. Yeah, easy. Who's going to win the Super Bowl this year? And then I would place a bet, because that's not telling anyone. I'm just placing a bet.
Okay, that's we're going beyond the realm of my original hypothetical. I'm talking
But no,
about
obviously
historical
they know
events.
who's going to win the Super Bowl. They don't leave that crap to chance.
No, of course
So
not.
it's already been predetermined. I'd like to know.
What about you?
I used to say I would want to know everything. I used to say that, like you, Tony. And at this stage of the game, I think I'm more comfortable in the gray. Nah, I'm good. I wouldn't want to walk around just holding on information I couldn't share with people. It would just wind me up. I think.
gotta know, if you're a double agent, if you have to dress up in a special outfit and go walk through a park and put a piece of paper in a garbage can with a note on it that says, I need to know if there's any correlation with alias or not.
Yeah, with the alias. Sure.
You just really want to talk about wigs and high-heeled boots, don't you?
Yeah, I just love
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, Alias was pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was. Here's a true story, Candace. You'll love this. It's my brush with
Except
Alias
yawns.
fame. There was the Disney lot, like in Burbank, California.
Yes, I know. Yes.
There was also, I think they had Hollywood Records was part of that conglomerate, a record label, and I knew a guy that worked there, and I went to see him in like 2003, and I saw Jennifer Garner ride right past me on a bicycle.
And she's a robot.
And I was like, she's a robot, and she thinks humanity's going to be safe in 100 years.
Yeah.
She rode by me on a bicycle, and I was like, oh, that's that girl on that show about wigs and high-heeled boots. And I couldn't think of the name, and it was Alias.
So much more than that, Steve.
She's a cute mommy. Walking around with her kids. She lives has a place out in Montana.
Oh, does she?
Oh, yeah.
Of course she does. Wow.
I don't. I just saw her a couple of times. My daughter gave her kids a ski lesson.
Wow. Well, that's
Did the kid.
awesome.
I don't believe you for a second.
She worked at the club. Yeah, that wasn't even her favorite. That's what she said. She goes, "What's that?" She was in Cinnamon or something. I'm like, "Oh yeah, Jennifer Harbinger
What?
or something like that." Who are we talking about?
Jennifer Garner.
When I was little,
Harbinger.
I wrote her a letter. She
Better
never
name,
wrote me
Harbinger.
back.
If you see her again, Zepp, you got to
Yeah.
say, listen, Candace Wheeler in Minneapolis needs to know. Was
Stalker,
Alias
stay
based
away
on
from-
true
yeah.
events?
You have to go, excuse me, Mrs. Harbinger.
Then she would snap my neck.
That's true. She did
With
all
her
her own
legs.
stunts.
Yeah.
She's strong and
She
cool
wore
and
all
perfect.
of her own wigs.
She's
I would
amazing.
love if we get the opportunity to sit down with the acting director of the Central Intelligence Agency, the four of us individually. I want to
Yeah.
see the videotapes of the Tony sits down. He goes, "I want to know two things: JFK and aliens, please. Everything you have." And then the guy lays it out, and Tony's like, "Okay, I'm going to keep this under my hat. Thank you very much." And then Zepp comes in there with a theory about something. I give some nonsense question, and then Candace. I want to talk about Alias. I picture a dark, smoky room, and the guy's like, what is it, Wheeler? You get one question. How realistic is it on the episode when Jennifer Garner had the piece of paper and she folded it up like 12 times? It was she stuck it under the fingernail of that guy, and then he put it on the park bench.
What if we found out that
Candace?
Yeah, what if we found out that the CIA has been communicating with all of its operatives around the world and allies through the show Alias?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It really would be awesome.
So she asked the question, they go, lock the door. Somebody figured it out.
You know what's another good CIA movie? The Recruit.
The Recruit?
With Al Pacino and Colin Farrell.
Okay, never
seen
even
it?
heard of it.
Oh, it's good.
I've never heard of Al Pacino or Colin Farrell.
I'm just,
If you were Mike Evans, you'd say Colin Farrell.
Hell, if I was Brian Zepp, I'd say Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, Al Pacino in a movie called The Recruit. What about The Americans? Now, did you ever watch The Americans on FX?
That was amazing.
That's your spycraft going back to the 70s and 80s show.
Oh,
that was pretty
okay.
great. The Reagan era. Yeah, there were park benches and chalk. Like there'd be a chalk line on a mailbox, and then somebody would complete the X or not to let you know it's a good time to chat. A lot of wigs and high heels in that show too, Candace.
Nice.
But not Jennifer Garner, but you got your Carrie Russell, your Felicity,
Nice hair.
That show's great. One of the great finales of all time of any series.
Oh, that was jaw-dropping.
Truly amazing. And if you want, for everyone who's never seen it, let me walk you through the finale and tell you exactly what happens.
All right.
No, I'm not going to do that. I think everyone should go watch the show. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
It was a great show. I didn't get to the finale, though, so I'm going to have to
Brian.
I'll go watch that after the show today.
Just jump in. It's truly,
stunning.
truly great. Like
Finales I have not seen. I did watch The Sopranos. Finales I've not seen. Breaking Bad. Watched 4 seasons.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, never saw the finale, but I know what happened. Everybody, the Badfinger song and the whole thing. It was a Badfinger, Bad Count,
Sure,
Badfinger.
yeah.
Then it was I never saw the
He eats a
Americans.
Butterfinger.
Never made it to that, right? To the end of that. Or Succession. I still haven't watched the last season of Succession, and most likely won't get there, but I don't know. I just can't. I peter out. It's, old age. It happens to guys my age.
Did I mention, speaking of Breaking Bad, that on the road trip west last month or earlier this month with my son, we went to Albuquerque, and we went by the Walter White home, the house, where the White family my son loves Breaking Bad. I love the show. We're in Albuquerque. Hey, let's go check it out. We pull up to the house that you've seen the front yard of and the outside. You've seen that a million times. There's a chain link fence around the entire front yard that's like 6 feet tall, and there are signs on it that say, "Do not disturb us." In big letters.
They're tired of it.
2 signs.
Why would you live in that house?
And in the front yard, 2 women sitting in chairs, folding chairs in the front yard. It's 6:30 p.m. It's an evening, the sun's about to set. No, it's even later. It's like 7:30. Yeah. And they're just sitting out front. And as we pull up, they immediately take their phones out to take pictures of us. Like they're just like, hey, leave us alone. We're here. And we were so taken aback. We're like, what do you... You're mad at us for driving by the house? What'd you buy it for? Or if you already owned it, what'd you let him shoot it for? What'd you think was going to happen?
Or sell it if you're that uncomfortable.
You know what there is to do in Albuquerque? Go to the Walter White House. That's it.
Yeah.
Throw a pizza on the roof.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't believe it. If you buy, it's like living in the Brady Bunch house and being mad that people drive by all the time.
Right.
Which I've done that as well.
You would think you could sell it for, over its worth, right? There are a lot of Breaking Bad nut jobs out there that would plunk down the dough on that place.
Turn that thing into an absolute tourist attraction. Do something.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
just start cook meth in the backyard. Go for it. They're not going to bust you. Hey, the KQ Morning Show is hitting the road for a long weekend, and this is serious, folks. We really want you to join us. Let's talk about this, shall we? KQ Up North with our friends from BigDeck.com. This is going to be October 5th through the 8th at Cragun's Resort on Gull Lake. Got your own place to stay up in the area? Okay, fine. Then just buy a day pass. You can do that at 92kqrs.com. You'll be able to join us for a live broadcast of this here very KQ Morning Show. We're going to have drinks on the boat cruise. There's going to be dinner. There's going to be golf. Oh, it's going to be an awesome weekend. Sponsored again by BigDeck.com and Cragun's Resort on Gull Lake. Let's go.
It's going to have damn near everything. Not everything, though. because we're not going to have a big mud bog up there. If you want to go to a mud bog, you want to play in the mud this weekend, you want to watch people play with horsepower in deep mud, well, then you're going to have to attend Howie's Mud Bog. We'll tell you all about it. In fact, Kylie and Tony are going to tell you all about it here at 9 o'clock. Hang tight.
The sea was angry that day, my friends.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, August the 3rd. This weekend, Labor Day weekend, from the 31st through September 4th, there's a big mud bog going down up near Finlayson, Minnesota. Howie's Mud Bog. Holy smokes. 300 acres of land, Minnesota's longest-running mud bog. I am completely ignorant to the ways of mud bogging, and therefore I'm thrilled to say we've got a couple of folks from the mud bog in studio. Kylie and Tony, good morning. Thanks for coming down.
Morning.
Hang on. Now your mic's on. Now I hit the button.
Good morning.
Good morning. Glad you guys could make it. Okay, let's talk about this mud bog. 30 years of this happening. I'm reading a note. It says started with a bunch of high school buddies playing in the mud. Is it really that simple?
Yeah, it started with like 10 of my dad's friends just coming over to his house just to have fun, and now it's grown into over 4,000 people.
4,000 people a year show up.
Yeah.
How many of those people are actually getting in the mud in their own vehicles of the 4,000?
We get about 200 to 300 trucks normally.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
All different sizes and yeah.
And so for over the 4 or 5 days, you have a ton of different events. It's not just simply. Now I've seen commercials, I've seen videos on YouTube of these things, but I've never been to one. I'm gonna assume it's loud as hell.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely a blast. And you're waiting for things to go completely sideways. You want to see how deep and how stuck somebody can be.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all good stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty much the goal, just to see how stuck you can get and then get each other out.
That's awesome. So you have hundreds of people doing this. Let's talk about the various things that will be going on. There's different. It's not just simply that. The Dash for Cash. Put $100 on the other side of the mud pit. First one to find it in the mud wins.
Yeah, so we line up this big crowd of people on the opposite end of the mud pit, and then we have somebody bury these plastic water bottles in the mud pit, and then this crowd of people has to run across the pit and dig in the mud and try to find the money in the bottle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyone not ever come up, never be seen from again, like a swamp monster in there maybe or something like that?
Almost, but not quite.
Yeah.
I haven't been up to Howie's Mud Bog. I love me a good mud bog, so I'm going to have to get this one on the calendar. I know it's coming up this Labor Day weekend. You have any trucks go over on their side?
Yeah. At least one a year, I would say.
Sure.
But yeah, especially during our races. I mean, they're going as fast as they can, and then there's sharp turns and jumps, and people definitely flip.
Now, you need some heavy junk to get those out of there if they get stuck, and they often get stuck. You ever have anyone get stuck that you just couldn't get out of there? You had to work around them?
Not really. We have such big equipment there. We have bulldozers, excavators.
That was my next question. Wait,
tractors.
how do you get trucks out of the mud? So you're obviously well prepared for that.
Yeah, we have normally our logging skidders actually work best, and we just pull them out. But sometimes people get so buried that you have to dig them out with an excavator, a backhoe, and dig them out a little bit. But
Howie's Mud Bog. It's going on this upcoming Labor Day weekend. Okay, what is the? I just lost it. What is the Double J racetrack? How is that different than anything else? I said one Double J racetrack. What is that?
So basically what it is, it's a double J hook. So you have two trucks side by side. They're paired up.
Right.
And they take off, hit a series of jumps, and then they come into a turn towards each other.
Wow.
Gee, what could possibly go wrong?
Really nothing, right?
That is outstanding. And then what's the new tug of war pad? I mean, I don't want to assume anything. So explain what's going on there.
So we had a tug of war pad, but we just poured a new one, and it's about double the size.
Okay.
And we take two trucks and we hook them up with a strap from their tailgates.
Right.
And then they play tug of war together. We have these stoplights, and then as soon as the light turns green, they just full force start driving away from each other, and whoever goes over the line wins.
God,
Wow.
that's outstanding.
Who's got the? There's always a champ. There's always some big stud up there with his truck. Who's you got somebody like that up there at Howie's Mud Bog that just comes every year? That's the person to beat.
There's definitely those couple of top people. I feel like the big
Yeah.
mega trucks. There's a couple people that everybody tries to beat every year in tug of war, but
Yeah.
every different event definitely has its champion that somebody tries to go for.
Kylie, what will you be participating in?
I think I'm gonna race this year. I have my
Okay.
own truck
Yeah.
as well, so I
Right.
might try out racing. But
Okay.
my favorite thing is just bogging, just backyard mud bogging.
Just
I
going
take
in.
my truck and I just try to get stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
That is my absolute favorite.
And you've been doing this forever. You just grew up doing this, I guess.
Yeah, I was in trucks since I was probably 5.
That's awesome.
And then I got my own truck when I was 16. So, yeah, I've always been in trucks.
I have kind of a dumb question. Is there a process, or how difficult is it to maintain the mud?
There definitely is a process. We start bulldozing and kind of leveling out like any holes or any rough spots in the mud pit when the water's down in the spring and at the beginning of the summer. And then sometimes we have to add water, sometimes you have to take out water. There's definitely a process to getting the perfect mud.
What kind of effect does the mud have on the skin? Does it make it soft and smooth?
What?
Mud bath.
Invited her.
Not as you would think. I mean, it gets stuck on you, and then once you try to take it off, it takes out like any little arm hair that you have,
Oh.
and it gets stuck in your hair, especially if you have long hair. But
Oh.
I do see that there is a shower house on site. Very important part of the logistics.
yes,
Yeah, no question about it. All right, what is the beater car race? Let's talk about that one.
you can pretty much just get a cheap car, like
Okay.
$100, $500.
I like it
whatever.
already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Facebook Marketplace car.
Yeah.
And it just has to drive. And we have this beater car race where, we just get a bunch of junk cars and they race each other over this track with just a few small jumps and through the woods for a section and then around a circle track for a section.
I got to think a hefty percentage of these cars do not make it to the finish line.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
fantastic.
probably 3 of each class. But yeah, I think that's definitely my dad, Howie's favorite event,
yeah?
actually.
See, when I was a kid, when I was in college, my brother and a couple friends of ours, we found a car that was for sale. It was $150, and so we pooled our money just to trash it, like on our own. We didn't have a race. We would have totally done that. We just ran it into things until it stopped working and then abandoned it. But we needed a beater race to apply that effort to. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Howie'sMudbog.com is the website for all the information to buy tickets, to see what all the events are. There's a lot of photos. Of course, there's waivers to download and sign if you want to get involved. This is a ginormous event. I mean, what it just is a little bigger every year, I got to imagine.
Yeah, we get a little bit bigger every year, and it's just crazy how much it's grown. This is our 30th year this year, and it's insane.
Bands Friday and Saturday night and a DJ Sunday night. So music is a big part of this. Is this mostly, what is it, rock bands, country bands? What do you got?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Friday night, we have a band called Uptown.
Okay.
And Saturday night, we have a band called Shovel Shot. And that band actually used to come out way back in the day, and they're coming back this year. So
right on.
Pretty excited about that. But yeah, we do kind of like classic rock and country, a little bit of everything.
That's great. Yeah, I would think you need a little bit of music playing to to properly get a mud bog on. You got to have the rock raging in the truck. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Music all 3 nights, so.
See, I've lived in the South most of my life, and I've seen these events, and the idea that you're doing this without Southern accents, it's blowing my mind. I'm now realizing I've attached Southern accents to Mudbog footage my whole life, and I was missing out. This happens all over the place. It's great. The Parade of Trucks at 6 p.m. Thursday, August 31st. Cornhole at 7. I mean, you have a million things. Oh, the lawnmower race. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so you can just kind of like the beater car races. You
Yeah.
can just pick
Whatever
up
you got.
Yeah, whatever you got. Just
As
get a
long as it goes.
lawnmower. I mean, if you don't have the money to get this expensive mud truck built,
Yeah.
just get a lawnmower and you can still have fun. Like, yeah, so they just drive around a circle track and it's a lawnmower race.
Man, this sounds, I mean, I have plans this weekend and I'm kind of bumming because I say this sincerely. I've got to get involved in this. I've got to at least see it. I'm not, when I say involved,
TV open.
when I say get involved, I don't mean I want to get in the truck and do this. That would be
Oh,
bad for
come on.
everybody. I got to watch it first. I got to spend a little time there first.
Yeah.
I'm already bookmarking this for next year because like I said, I've never done anything about this. The more I learn, the more I'm kind of getting excited about this. Zepp, have you been to one of these?
Yeah, I have been. In fact, I buried an ATV up in Gilbert one year, and I see you have the ATV open going. That would work for Steve. I can get a buddy up there with an ATV. We can get you on that bad boy, and you'll get muddy. Yeah, you'll get muddy.
Make sure you wear white.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's a given, I would have to think. So this kicks off, here's the deal. Thursday, August 31st, gates open at 10, and you're going to have several thousand people up there all weekend long. The event runs through Sunday, September 3rd that night. Man, this is fantastic. You guys, I would say have a great time, but that sounds kind of silly to say because you're going to have a great time.
Yeah, guaranteed.
How much time spent literally prepping? You have a year. Do you do this once a year?
Yes.
And then, like, when Tony was asking about prepping the mud, but, like, is this, like, all summer long you're just dealing with a million things to prepare yourselves for it? I mean, I guess that list gets longer every year, too.
Yeah, all summer long, pretty much. Like, even in the spring, we start to do a couple of things, but it's pretty much all summer. And then mainly August, we have helpers out there all the time working. We run equipment all the time. We're putting up our fence, our signs, everything.
Okay, yeah. Here's another question. Just looking at these photos, like you buy a truck, you put this, you make it ready for the bog, basically. How much time what kind of time and money is spent putting like a really champion level truck together?
I mean, you're going to spend upwards of, you could spend $50,000.
Yeah,
I mean,
easy, probably.
To get into the races, I mean, you can start in the entry level stuff. It's pretty semi-stock trucks.
Right.
And obviously get in, but the top class, you're going to be spending big money.
That's awesome,
man. The truck I run has a lot of money into it.
Come on, lay it on me. What kind of truck is it?
It's all tube chassis, custom chassis. It's 4-link truck, nitrogen shocks, and it's got a blown alcohol 600 plus cubic inch big box Chevy. So it's got one of the big old blowers on top of it.
That's awesome.
In about 2 minutes, it drinks about 10 gallons of methanol. So
I mean, that has to be the most fun thing ever. Just getting in there and just cranking that bad boy up.
It's a blast. It's just you work on it all
year. Sure. And
I got little kids, and they love this stuff. That's probably the only reason my wife lets me keep doing it.
Of course, yeah. Oh, man, I've been missing out. I literally, I remember the day my son decided he wanted to play golf. I was like, oh, good, I have an excuse to play golf now. And now I feel like the biggest dork on earth. I'm like, you have giant monster trucks. You're bogging around in the mud with your kids. That's living the life, brother.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I'm looking at these photos. I'm truly, I've made some poor life decisions. That led me. This is fascinating.
There's time.
There's
time, Steve. Yeah.
Howie'sMudbog.com. Up just 9 miles west of Finlayson. Am I saying that right? Finlayson.
Yeah, Finlayson.
Finlayson, Minnesota. Everyone's welcome. Go to the website, get your tickets, check it out. Guys, thanks for coming in. This is legitimately the most badass thing we've talked about since I got to Minnesota.
Thank you for having us.
That is awesome. All right, Howie'sMudbog.com. Go get what you need there. Boom.
Yeah, plenty of camping. I bet they have. Bet they're selling beer up there too. That'll be a good time this Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. I got to think beer factors in a little bit as well. It would for me.
Big part of it.
Just one or two every now and again.
I think that's how they make that mud. Everybody just stands out there and pisses all night. It's got a little frothy foam on the top. It's nice. Makes you want to plunge in. Come on, no. It's a little runoff. It's the runoff from the campground, isn't it? No,
gross.
I know it. I'm here to ruin a good time. All right, thanks, gang, for coming in. That's definitely one that's going to get on the calendar. It's been a number of years since I've been up to a good mud bog, and this sounds like the one to get to. All right, gang, we have sports and music history coming up here at 9:30. Hang tight.
You filthy animal.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Wednesday, August the 30th. Great news from Scotland over the weekend. God, that's a bad Scottish accent. Lot of volunteers, 200 in fact, went to Loch Ness for the biggest search in 50 years, trying to find Nessie, the Loch Ness monster. Here is the news that is really worth knowing. Alan McKenna is a guy. He's a search leader for a group called Loch Ness Exploration. He was on a boat on Friday out on the loch, using a hydrophone system to record sounds underwater. And here's the quote from Alan McKenna. "We did hear something. We heard 4 distinctive gloops." Gloop, gloop.
Oh, my God.
Gloop,
Not a gloop.
And we all got a bit excited, and we ran to go make sure the recorder was on, but it wasn't plugged in.
Whose job was that?
What?
You have a boat that is designed to cruise Loch Ness and record sounds. You've had weeks and months to prepare for this weekend, and you forgot to plug in the recorder.
Well, they were nervous.
They missed the gloop.
Yeah, so the sounds were not further examined. Organizers later conceded that the blubbing, glooping sounds could, in fact, have been, wait for it, ducks.
Oh, yeah, or anything.
Giant
just
ducks.
Some ducks.
Listen to this. Gloop. There you go. There's one
That's
right
it.
there.
There's one right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of hope they find this damn thing so we can all move on with our lives. You know what I'm saying? Just find it, and everybody goes, oh, okay. And then that's it. It's over.
Ducks.
It's done. Never comes up again.
Ducks.
I've been really into ducks lately.
Is that true?
Yeah,
How so?
I've been watching a lot of duck videos.
Really?
Yeah, there's this Instagram page called Ducks in Space with this pet duck, and he's like the coolest duck I've ever known in my life. And we have a listener who has a pet duck who called me yesterday, and I heard it in the background and I almost cried because it was so cute.
What's
And,
his duck's name? Do you know?
Quack?
Quack?
No, I don't know.
You don't know?
But
Phil.
but I love ducks now.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's sweet.
yeah.
Kind of. I met a gentleman last night here in Minneapolis, and he had a yellow rubber ducky in the front pocket of his jeans, like sticking out. And Rosemary, my wife, said, "Sir, do you know you have a rubber ducky in your pocket?" And he said, "Yeah, it's my fidgeter thing." And he picked it out, and he just has it with him. Because he goes, you know, some kids have those fidget wheel
those fidget
things.
spinners.
Just a fidget spinner. He goes, well, I just prefer this. And he just squeezed it a few times and put it back in his pocket. I was like, hey, man, whatever it takes.
Yeah, to stop you from shooting everyone.
Could be. I mean, as far as I know, that it worked last night, if that was the point.
Right.
We all walked out of there, you know, upright and healthy. Yeah. Unlike nearly a dozen passengers on a flight, check this out, from Milan, Italy to Atlanta, Georgia on Delta Airlines Tuesday. About 40 miles outside of Atlanta, this plane hit severe turbulence, so much so that 11 passengers and crew suffered unspecified injuries.
Oh, my God.
First responders were called to board the plane immediately upon landing to provide medical treatment and transport to the hospital for 11 people. Yowza. And the worst part of that to me is that it's at the end of a flight from Italy to Atlanta, Georgia. So these guys have been on that plane 10, 11 hours at least already. And, you know, when you're on a flight that long, that last 45, 60 minutes, there's just that burst of adrenaline, like, oh man, we're almost there, here it comes. And they're serving coffee and everyone lifts their window blinds up and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna get there, it's gonna be great, I've got that second wind, I'm not gonna be jet lagged. And then all of a sudden you're just on a roller coaster ride. That would be a real kick in the teeth.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, you know, everyone survived it. It would be kind of wild, you know, to be in something like that with the plane just rocking and rolling like that.
The worst turbulence I've ever experienced was the one time where it didn't bother me in the least, and it was on a red eye from Los Angeles to Atlanta the night after the big Northridge earthquake in 1994. Oh. So I had spent about 15 or 16 or 17 hours after a giant earthquake, enduring aftershock after aftershock after aftershock. And then I said, screw it, I'm getting out of here. Went to LAX, got on a red eye, and then that flight was bouncing around way beyond anything. And literally, and I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm 30,000 feet in the air. I should be getting bounced around. After the earthquake, the turbulence didn't bother me in the least.
All right.
Or makes you paranoid, like, what's next?
I was just thinking, no, when the planet is shaking, that's problematic. When a plane is shaking, that's just called flying, I think.
Yeah.
I was pretty cool with it.
Yeah, I guess, in that context, sure.
Yeah, it was kind of nuts. Candace, do we have a caller?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would it be?
We have Joe with his pet duck, cousin Eddie.
Joe, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you doing, Steve?
I'm great. You have a pet duck?
Yeah, his name's Cousin Eddie. He's been on the news. He's been on the news a couple times. Say hi, Eddie. Oh, come on, you crabby little duck.
Oh, come on, duck. Cousin
Eddie. He rides around with me every day in a truck. He's never missed a day of work. He's probably one of the best employees I've ever had. Works for corn, mealworms, bread.
What kind of duck is Cousin Eddie?
He's a Drake Mallard.
Yeah.
He's kind of a goofy little. He has no idea he's a duck. He hates other ducks. Doesn't even really like to go swimming.
Really?
Yeah, he's pretty much content to, sit in the house and watch 2.5 Men or Vikings or Twins games.
My God. Are ducks pretty affectionate?
Yeah, he actually is. He'll, I'll be watching a Twins game and he'll just sit there and I could put a towel on my chest. He'll be on the couch laying that, flat out. He'll just sit right on my chest and you can actually they kind of purr. It's kind of cool. But yeah, he's been with me for 7 years. The first one was Frank. He died on his 9th birthday.
Oh,
and he finished a day of work, flew in the backyard, and on a Friday, 4:00 in the afternoon, tipped over and died. So at least he finished the day of the work and punched the clock.
Yeah, no, good guy, that Frank.
Yeah, Frank was the first one. He was well known. Everybody loved Frank, and now everybody's kind of attached to Eddie.
Did you kind of fall into ducks for pets? Did you just look up one day and Frank was following you, or did you go out and find him? How do you become a guy with a duck?
Oh God! All right, here we go. I had a yellow lab. I'm a duck hunter. And Lenny literally lived up to his name. He was the stupidest dog you ever met in your life. We're going to go duck hunting. I've spent $700 training this dog. We get to the duck hole, and he got out of the truck, sniffed all the other dogs' butts, hopped back in the truck, and said, "I'm good."
Huh.
So I called up the owner of the company. I work for Elite Transportation Systems. Hey, everybody that works for Elite. I'm out here driving around. So I called up the owner of Elite, Doug, and I said, "Hey, Doug, this dog's just worthless." And he goes, "Well, for that kind of money, you could have bought a flock of ducks." And so I went and bought a baby duck at a feed and tack store and went to his office and put it on his desk. And I go, "Well, there's your flock of ducks." He said, "Well, get that thing out of here."
Yeah.
I took it home. I made a little pen for him. I figured he'd hang out for a couple of months, and that would be that. And one day, I'm walking out to my truck, and he followed me out to the truck, and I'm like, "Well, you want to come with?" And put him in the truck, and the rest is history.
Man, that is fantastic.
He's the coolest. They both and two totally opposite personalities. Frank was a jerk. Eddie's a lover.
Really?
Duck was a jerk.
So does Eddie? I mean, like the average dog, does Eddie know what you're talking about? Are there commands, or can you, Eddie, come over here, or sit down?
Yeah.
I mean, he got some of those figured out.
When I open it, hey, come on! I can open up the door. He runs right for the door because it's time to watch 2.5 Men. He knows food. It's not like a dog where you can tell them to sit or anything like that because they really don't care. But, they communicate. I mean, there's a reason why duck calls work. They're talking to each other. He'll talk to you. I mean, one day he'll just, all of a sudden out of nowhere, he'll just start going, I'm like, yeah, you don't say.
Man, that's
they'll look at me like, what? Yeah. Hey, not to change the subject, Steve, but can I tell a real quick offshoot story?
Go ahead and change the subject. You're on a roll, man. I'd feel bad cutting you off at this point.
Okay. Yesterday you talked about the guy that found his mother after 42 years after being.
Yeah.
That happened to me. I was put up for adoption illegally by my biological grandmother because my mother was Catholic, and God forbid an 18-year-old Catholic woman in 1965 should have a kid.
Right.
And so she was in a coma because it was a bad childbirth, which explains a lot what happened to me.
Oh, geez.
And so she put me up for adoption and then spent the rest of her life trying to find me, and found me when I was 42 years old.
Wow.
Because she sued the state of Florida because she was dying of colon cancer.
Oh, my gosh.
And, yeah, at age 42, I got to meet my biological mother. The first words she said to me on the phone, you can't make it up, are, "Hello, Joseph. My name is Patricia Gary. I'm your mother, and you need to get a colonoscopy."
Wow.
And my first, here you go, boss. You got a first name for the job, Chief? Chad. All right, thanks. And my first words to meet her when I met her in person were, "Hey, Ma, long time no see."
Yeah.
And 13 months later, she died in my arms.
Joe, I hate to be so brief and quick, but we do have to cut you loose. That is a story that I would have never seen coming in a million miles. Thanks for sharing all of that with us, brother. I wish you all the best, and give Cousin Eddie our love.
Hey, hold on one second. Eddie, say goodbye to everybody.
There he goes.
There you go, guys. Hey,
Right on,
you
Joe.
guys rock. We'll talk to you later.
Winner, duck dinner. Well done, Joe.
What if Eddie just cursed us out?
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like, we don't like KQ.
Or Eddie's like, he always tells those same stories. Give me some new material, Joe. Man, that is, I tell you what, it's not often you go out on a call like that. Nope. Holy smokes. All right, I had a good day. Everybody cool?
Quack, quack.
That duck quacks
Right
me
on.
up, man.
The KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.